way. Pregnant ladies and little kids better get the hell out of the way, because I am running. I'm like Forrest Gump, dude. I am running. So the Titanic was the biggest ship on the ocean, but that didn't mean it was unsinkable. I want you each to use ombudsman in a sentence next week. I got one for you. My name is Kevin, the official ombudsman of the Just Press Play podcast. You like apples?
Welcome back to another edition of the Just Press Play pod. We are down one man. LJ is not with us today, but stepping right in, Bill Belichick would be happy. The next man up, we got Uncle Tony stepping here. What's going on?
What's happening, gentlemen? Glad to be here.
And of course, we got Pops in the building. What's up, Pops?
Hey, man, I'm just glad to be called a gentleman. That's all. So.
You don't hear that too often, do you?
No, I don't hear that very often. I'm very happy.
So we took a slight hiatus after the July 4th weekend, and we missed a week, but we are back, and we have some fun topics to get to. First, I want to let you know that the podcast is brought to you by our friends over at SeatGeek.com. If you're looking for tickets to any event or game or show, whatever you're looking for, SeatGeek has the tickets, and they make it easy for you to find the right ticket for your price. You get on there and they have, like when you go to search for tickets on SeatGeek, they have the green dots for the good deals, the yellow dots for the not so good deals, and the red dots for the ones that you just definitely want to stay away from. It's just not getting your bang for your buck. So right now, if you are looking to get a ticket, you can go on to SeatGeek.com and put in the promo code ACAA. That's for Armchair All-American. That is one of our affiliates on the podcast. They help us out. So if you put in ACAA right now, you will get $20 off your first purchase over at SeatGeek. Life's an event. SeatGeek has the tickets. All right, guys, I got to get into it. Speaking of events, it's been a while since I've watched World Series of Poker. I used to kind of, back in the Chris Moneymaker days, I used to watch a little. I think Phil Hellmuth.
You're dating yourself. You're dating yourself there, Kev.
Man.
I haven't. It's been a while.
Hellmuth guy.
It's been a while. Is it Hellmuth or Hellmuth? Hellmuth.
Hellmuth, isn't it? Phil Hellmuth?
Yeah.
Okay.
Phil Hellmuth, yeah.
It's been a while since I've watched World Series of Poker, but I did catch something a little bit yesterday, and I thought, who better to talk about this than Pops and Uncle Tony? Because I know whether it's some poker down in the basement with the boys or out at the casino, I feel like y'all have done some gambling in your days. So
Yeah. Anything but Iron Cross. That. I'll play anything but Iron Cross.
I don't even know what Iron Cross is.
Well, I can tell you it's a good way to think about getting shot. We had a buddy one time, Kevin. We had a buddy playing it one time, and he went every time. Finally, he says, you know what? I'm fixing to go out and get my gun and come back in here and shoot somebody. And so this buddy of ours, who shall remain nameless, went outside. And I started putting my tennis shoes on, and all my other buddies sitting inside said, what the hell are you doing? I said, well, if he brings that gun back, I'm going to have to run through the woods, and I want my tennis shoes on if I do.
Yeah. So Kevin, I'm sitting in the corner, and I see Lift putting on his tennis shoes. And this is the first time or second, third time I met that buddy of ours. And I was like, what? He said, no, I'm putting my tennis shoes on. I'm like, well, damn, I had my keys in my hand. I had my shoes on, and I knew where the window was that I was jumping to get out.
Well, that sounds like a hell of a weekend.
Well, the good news is our buddy took a little ride down a dirt road, and he came back in with a better sense of hospitality. And we all live to tell the tale. And luckily we have Pops and Uncle Tony here with us today to record this podcast.
Yeah. That was an infamous weekend for many, many reasons. So.
Yes.
Well, so speaking of the main event over the weekend, there was some controversy in the 2019 World Series of Poker where on day 7 with 11 players remaining, Dario Sammartino. I'm not exactly sure on the pronunciation.
Yeah.
He had pocket tens, so he raised the pot, and then Nick Marchington went all in with 22 million. He had pocket queens. So Sammartino had pocket tens, Marchington had pocket queens. So he went all in with 22 million. And when Dario asked the dealer for a count, the dealer just right off the top said it would be 17.2 million. So the Sammartino with the pocket tens decided he would call. He thought 17, cool, he'd call. And then he already said call. And then someone else at the table realized, they were like, I'm pretty sure that's more than 17. And they did a recount, and the dealer was like, oh, crap. Yeah, that's 22 million. But so then Dario wanted to know if that's like, he was like, well, wait a minute. If I'd have known it was 22, he was going on with 22 instead of 17, I might not would have called. But apparently the rules go, and I didn't realize this, but there's a rule in there where the player has to be aware of what's on the table at all times, regardless of what the dealer says. So he was forced to then call 22 million. So he had to put that extra 5 million in to call the thing. So he was obviously a little upset. He was perturbed by this because he said he said no, he wasn't sure if he would call or not, but it would help. The dealer did tell him the wrong number. So I'll just toss it over to you, Pops. Does that seem right to you that he was forced to call the 22 million?
Boy, this is a tough one because I think. Did
I explain that okay? I tried to lay it out.
I think I understand it pretty clear. It seems to me if I'm playing in the basement with Tony and some buddies, and I ask what's in the
hopefully
pot,
no guns in there.
Well, I mean, you never know. But
Bowie knives, just Bowie knives.
That's right. If I ask what's in the pot, it's up to me to know. And so if Keith or Tony says something that's total bullshit, I think it's more up to me. It does seem to me in the World Series of Poker that if you ask a dealer for a count, you should be able to rely on that count. So
yeah, there's a little bit of a difference between you playing in the basement with the boys, where there's probably a lot of drinks going around, in the World Series of Poker.
I feel like there is, but I will say this: it sounds like the rule is very clear. There is no room for debate in it. It is up to the player to know the amount and clarify it. I think the only problem I really had and I watched the feed on it, the YouTube or whatever, the Twitter account, the video. And the final guy that made the judgment says, if you're in for 17, you're in for 22. And kind of just, that was his final line. And I thought, well, that's kind of horseshit because
that rubbed me the wrong way.
That rubbed me the wrong way because there's $5 million difference, and that's quite a bit. But so I kind of felt like they should have allowed him to, before another card's played, maybe decide you can pull your money back. That seems like that would be the fairest thing to do. With that said, I think the rules are pretty clear, and I do think they followed them. And I would be very interested to hear another opinion. So without further ado, Uncle T, what
I was about to say, I know a guy that probably has one.
I know Tony's got one.
Yeah.
It may be wrong, but he's going to have one.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I've got one. So here's the thing. Sammartino at the time, if I remember correctly, had several more chips than 22 million. That additional 5 million to him did not make a big difference because at that point in time, I think he was the second leading in chip or number one chip leader with 214 or something like that. And so 17 to 22. So that was a bullshit statement for him to say, well, if it was 22, I might not have called. Well, that's BS. You got pocket tens and don't know the guy's got pocket queens. You're calling 22 million, 10% of your pot. You're going. So first of all, that's bullshit. He's just trying to play it. And Sammartino did something later where he and another player started talking about the cards, and the pit boss had to come on and say, hey, look, well, the dealer said at first, sorry, you can't discuss the cards because you haven't laid them down yet. Neither one of them was going to bet anymore, but she said, I'm sorry, you can't talk about what cards you got because Sammartino's trying to guess. I bet you got ace king suited.
When the game's still going on?
And he did.
When people are still playing?
Yeah, people are still playing. He said, I think you got ace king suited or ace queen suited connector. And he said, you're not going to have this. So I know I got it, but am I right? Am I right? And so she said, sorry, sir, you can't talk about it. So whatever Sammartino said there, I'm not really buying it. But the thing is, the rule is the rule. Now, yeah, the dealer should have known it was 22. And yeah, that's a mistake. But you know what? Follow the rules. 17 to 22 million at that point in time is 2% of your 2 to 3% of his total chip stack. And, it's not going to make a difference in his call. He's not looking, the guy's got pocket queens just because he goes all in. He may have pocket sixes or pocket tens, the same as the other guy did. I don't buy that. And so I think that was a cop out once he figured out that, and I can't remember in the sequence if the cards had been shown or not before he knew it was a 22 mil before a 17 mil.
Well, I think so. The cards were not shown yet, but he said, "Wait, 22." And then she was like, "Well, you called? Did he?" You can even hear the dealer ask someone asked the dealer, "Did he already say call?" And she was like, "Yeah, he called. Yeah, he called it." And someone else came in and was like, well, if he called, he called. But it was just a guy that was standing at the table. So they called the VP over. I forget, Jack Eiffel, I think, came over and was like, yeah, if he called. I think it was like a responsibility rule or player responsibility rule.
Yeah.
And to your point, the dealer screwed up and it happens just like we've watched enough football games to know that if you watched the Rams Saints last year, sometimes the dealer or rep, they just screw up every now and then.
Ref screws up.
And the other pro though that was sitting right beside him who had already folded, he knew right away when the dealer said 17.2, he's like, I think that's off. I did hear that. That's off. Yes. So, I mean,
but so
it was pretty. It was pretty obvious that most of the players, and especially if you're at the table, you're a pretty good poker player. You should be you should already have counted up how much he's got, or at least have an idea. And you should. I mean, there's a responsibility to the player. So I didn't have that much problem with the ruling. I thought the guy saying to the last line to throw in there, like, oh, if you're calling 17, you're calling 22. That just seemed unnecessary to me. But I do think you're right, Tone. He was probably going all in. Then he realized, well, shit, he's got pocket queens. This sucks. I mean, he's just upset that he saw pocket queens.
Well, so I got two questions. So are you saying he called and then asked for a count, or did he ask for a count and then call?
He asked for a count. She said 17-2. And he said, all right, call.
Okay.
And then it was interesting to me though. And the World Series of Poker just moves fast, but so the other guy says, well, it looks like more than that. And they realize that she got the thing wrong. And the one guy comes in and says, well, if he called, he called. And then she like pretty quick shows the river. So the deal's going on. And then San Martino's he's carrying on and upset about it and standing up. And if you look at the total amount of chips,
I didn't realize he had that many chips. Okay. So he had 214 million.
Yeah, San Martino didn't give a shit. That was
on Sunday night, and despite losing that hand, San Martino started on Monday in fifth with 23.1 million with just 5 players remaining. So it didn't affect him that much in the long run. But when you're throwing chips out there, every chip matters, especially when you're playing poker. Yeah. I get him throwing a fit, but
and I don't watch the World Series of Poker all that much, but I do watch it. And in deference to something LJ said the other night, I do happen to stay up late. I also happen to get up early. I don't live in Norway, but you know what? I pretty much know my own schedule. So the thing about it is World Series of Poker late at night is a great thing to watch. And San Martino, if you watch him a little bit, he's one of these guys that stares, and he does these stares that you really don't like. It's like, come on, man, you got a 30-second stare on somebody else. It's just creepy. And one of the guys says, man, that's almost romantic. And I started looking at him as he's staring at that guy. And it's like, man, he's kind of like blinking his eyes and looking deep into his soul or something. It's like, man, come on, man. So San Martino, to be honest with you, that was a little bit of a show to say, I'm going to be upset. So he could kind of throw some emotion out there and get the game going the way he wanted it to. So I don't think it's a big deal.
Well, and you could tell with us kicking off the pod with some World Series of Poker talk, you can tell we're in mid-July and it's a little slow in the sports cycle. But since it is mid-July, that means that football is
around the corner. It's around the corner, baby.
It's around the corner.
I don't know if you've noticed. I was at a gas station the other day, and a fantasy football magazine popped up, and there was this little itch I had on my arm, and all of a sudden that fever started getting back, and I thought,
no! The fantasy football index has shown its face.
Already got my mag.
Well, it is. Yep. So I have my seasons go by when I am or am not coaching baseball, and so. Baseball ended this past weekend for me, so that means that a trip to Barnes & Noble is in my future, and there are 2 or 3 magazines being bought, even though I may not look at them that much. Got to have them, and so it is that time. This is the time of year where everybody is the best football player they've ever been. Everybody's in the best shape they've ever been. They've gained 20 pounds or they've lost 20 pounds. They're going to really compete for that number 1 position, or they're gonna be the slot receiver that really produces. Everybody's number 1 right now, and then all of a sudden
it's the annual time.
Yep, they'll start.
It's the annual time where Devontae Parker. Yeah, Devontae Parker for the Dolphins. He's finally. This is the year. This is the year.
For Devontae Parker. Yep. This is it. And if you hang on long enough, Darren Sproles will show up in somebody's camp. So just hang in there, guys. Darren Sproles will show up. Don't worry.
So It's hard to believe, but football is almost back. The NFL preseason kicks off with the Hall of Fame game on August 1st, and soon that means regular season NFL and college football will be here. So that means it's time to make an account at the best online sportsbook known to man. That's right. We're talking MyBookie. Sports betting is exploding in popularity. And if you want to get in on the action with trusted company that's been in the business for years, MyBookie is the place for you with an easy, no-hassle mobile site, 24/7 customer service, and bets on every sport and prop imaginable. MyBookie provides a fun, safe betting experience. And right now, if you get in there and deposit, MyBookie will give you a 50% deposit bonus. That's right. You put in 100, they'll give you 50. You put in 1,000, they'll give you an extra 500. It's that easy. All you got to do is go to MyBookie.ag. That's MyBookie.ag and sign up today with the promo code JPP for Just Press Play. And MyBookie will get you that extra deposit. Right now, you play, you win, you get paid over at MyBookie. And what I want to talk about with football going on right now, there's the Madden ratings just came out. I don't know if you guys saw this by any chance. And
I heard about it.
Four guys, I think, are pretty okay with their rating because 4 guys got a 99 overall, and we'll talk about those 4 in just a second. But I don't know if I think it's always been this case where we talk, it's because it's so slow in sports, we got to talk about something. So we talk about Madden ratings. But with Twitter nowadays, all the players are upset about their rating. Every single guy thinks they got rated too low.
Well, except for 4, I think. But
except for 4. So let's talk about the 4 99 overall picks. There was only 1 offensive player with a 99 overall and 3 defensive. It was Aaron Donald, Bobby Wagner, Khalil Mack, all got 99s. And then DeAndre Hopkins for the Texans, wide receiver, got 99. So no QBs made it. So I'm just going to ask you, Tone, what's your thoughts on those 4 getting the 99 and no one else? Any thoughts?
Well, yeah, I really, I don't have a lot of thought about Madden except who's on the cover, because then I never draft them in fantasy football.
Well, that's your boy. That's your boy on the cover.
Who's on the cover? Did they announce the cover?
Oh, yeah, the cover's Patrick Mahomes, Mr. Throw It Out of the Stadium.
Oh, son of a bitch. Okay. That's fine.
Tony, unless you're drafting in the top 2 or 1, you're not getting him anyway. So
yeah, I have him in a dynasty league that will, and we won't talk about that till later on this fall. But yeah, I'm not going to have a shot at him in a regular league.
LJ's ear just perked up. He loves it when Tony brings up his dynasty league.
Yeah. So here's the thing about Madden. Some of it, they take measurables and it's based upon past performances and stuff. But I never really looked into that. Doesn't mean jack shit, except for these multimillionaires who ain't got nothing to do before training camp starts. And now it's like all they're doing is playing Madden. Oh, man, I'm a 99. What? I'm a 96. Son of a bitch. Okay. Those kind of things go on. So other than that, it doesn't matter. I will say this. DeAndre Hopkins is a 99 and being the only offensive player out there, I think is spot on. And, because he is in his category by far and away the best, the best in the business right there, right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's been one of the top receivers for a while now. No
doubt about it.
It's been debatable whether he's been the top receiver for the past 4 years, but regardless, he's been one of the top. And before this year, until Deshaun Watson got there, I mean, he's had just musical chairs at quarterbacks, and he still produces every week in and week out.
Well, now I might beg to differ with y'all on Hopkins. Now, I love DeAndre Hopkins, but I kind of came on to him last year. But I mean, Antonio Brown has been the number 1 receiver drafted in most fantasy leagues in the last several years. And I would argue that he has been the top receiver. But he's got
the amazing quarterback throwing to him.
Well, he doesn't anymore. He doesn't anymore.
Derek, I'm on my ass again, Carr. That's he's got that guy going.
Sorry for jumping in there, Pops. I'll let you finish. What were you saying?
So I was just a little surprised that if he was number 1, and I do notice I looked up. So Antonio Brown got a 98, Julio Jones got a 98, Odell Beckham Jr. got a 96. So there's certainly, those are the other name receivers, and 99, 98. Big whooper deal. Not a big difference there.
Yeah.
But there is something to be the one perfect, because 99, by the way, for anyone out there, 99 is the top. There's no 100 rating. So that means he's the top guy as far as Madden ratings
I think
go.
every one of them, everyone wants to be in the 90s. You know, everybody can't be in the 90s. You just can't be.
Yeah, one guy who wasn't in the 90s, Mr. Keenan Allen over at the Chargers, got an 89. He got an 89, and he was very perturbed, to say the least. He posted like this long Twitter video of him just all upset. He went, and it's funny. He's sitting here, he's recording this in the car, I think. And so it's not like in front of a computer screen or something. And clearly the man knows his exact rating on like everything. He was like an 84 on short route running, an 85 on medium. He knew it, every single number. So he had a long, he was actually really upset about this. And Tony's right. These multimillionaires, they got too much time on there, and they're looking at every single category in the Madden ratings.
I can guarantee you Keenan Allen has no Madden ratings in his contract. He's not getting any bonuses for his Madden rating. So I don't know why he's any mad about it. But, now I will say this, Dr. Liff is right. Antonio Brown has been phenomenal. And I'll say this about football in 2019. We are in for an interesting year because there was so much movement with the top tier guys. You've got Le'Veon Bell, New York Jets, Antonio Brown, Oakland Raiders on Hard Knocks. That was an
Can't wait.
Awesome episode by the way on that. And then Odell Beckham with Cleveland. You just don't know. Some of those guys now, all of a sudden you've got these what ifs. What if Baker Mayfield has a sophomore slump? What if Antonio Brown can't live with John Gruden? All these different things are out there. There's some little bit of doubt being placed in a lot of those top tier players this year. Yeah. So it's going to be fun to watch. I think fantasy football drafts this year may be the most fun to watch that they've been in quite some time.
I agree with you. There's just a lot of uncertainty out there. And the other thing that was interesting to me on the Madden ratings were the quarterbacks out there, and your boy, Tony, the cover boy, he was the top quarterback out there. Mahomes was a 97 overall. But the one that really is surprising, I think a lot of people, was coming in at 6th was Aaron Rodgers. He was the 6th best quarterback in the ratings at a 90.
Really?
Above him are Russell Wilson at 5 at 91, Andrew Luck at 4 at 92, Phillip Rivers as the 3rd quarterback at 94, and then Mr. GOAT, the ageless wonder himself, Tom Brady at 96. Phillip Rivers, I think he's a good quarterback, and especially he's one of those guys in fantasy you're not usually excited about him when you get him, but he always produces every single year.
Third highest rated,
third best quarterback
I agree.
in the NFL.
That was a little ambitious.
Well, the thing about Madden, his completion ratio though is pretty good. He gets Hunter Henry back this year. I don't know if they factored that in.
He may or may not have Gordon. They haven't signed Gordon yet.
They haven't signed Gordon yet. Gordon's going to sign because who's got to sign trade for a eggshell head guy? This guy's had 2 concussions in the last 3 years. He's got to sign. Anyway, I don't get it. But Rivers being 3, depending on what your measurables are as a quarterback, that's fine. What I find interesting on Madden is that a lot of these guys, they don't take into account their running ability. And I would have thought on Madden, you might see like Deshaun Watson be a little bit higher, maybe in those top 5. Not that Josh Allen is a good quarterback, but I bet you if you put together a Madden team that was right, you could probably put Josh Allen, Deshaun Watson, maybe Lamar Jackson in there as a rushing team, and you could probably get a pretty decent score. But who knows what they're using there? But Phillip Rivers, he's going to be a Hall of Fame quarterback.
What do you want to hear something a little interesting too? I looked, there are certain things that make up their point total. And so it's like awareness, acceleration, agility, and strength. And I thought it was interesting. So the highest person rated in strength, really no big surprise, was Aaron Donald. Okay, I get that. Yeah. The highest in
probably
agility,
best player in football,
Odell Beckham Jr. Oh, okay. Acceleration.
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill, who may or may not be playing next year. I don't know, but okay.
Yeah,
I get that.
Yeah, he's playing.
Yeah, but
the other
seems fair.
Awareness. I thought this one was very interesting. The number 1 guy in awareness is David Bakhtiari, the tackle for the Green Bay Packers.
Also known as the guy that he chugged the beer really fast at the Bucs game.
Is that the one that did it? I knew that name. That's Bakhtiari.
That's Bakhtiari.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Tom Brady was number 2 in awareness, but I just
He's the highest awareness.
David,
he was super aware when that camera
maybe
popped
that's
on him.
why he got it. Maybe that's
fast,
why he got it. Yes, Bakhtiari is the number one grade in awareness.
Oh, I would like to see how you computerize awareness. I'd like to talk to those programmers and say, okay, talk to me about awareness. How does that work in a video game?
I mean, there's a lot that goes into it, and more often than not,
they're pretty
Madden ratings
old.
are pretty. They do a pretty good job a lot of times.
I guess he reads that blitz pretty good, or something.
Can you imagine? Okay, so you're an intern at EA Sports doing the Madden stuff, and it's okay, bud. Here's what I want you to do. There are 10,000 CDs downstairs. I want you to go watch David Bakhtiari for 6 hours and tell me how many times he picks up the blitz. Could you imagine being that guy? You're watching. I'm
sure there's worse jobs out there, but yes, that does seem. We need to really dive into the Bakhtiari tape today, guys. We got to really get it.
David Bakhtiari,
damn, for real. That's what it's saying.
But yeah, and so not only you David Bakhtiari, somebody's out there with Incognito going, okay, so give me Incognito's awareness score. Okay, can I give you like 50 now because he's already suspended again? Can I just give you that and let's just go forward? Do I have to watch tapes of Mike
Let's just call it a day. Yeah, can we just call it a day?
Let's call it what it is and let's move forward.
The last at least quarterback I want to bring up was Eli Manning. And his rating on the game, before I tell you what his rating was, I just want to see, can you guess, Uncle Tony, I'll start with you. Can you guess the number of quarterbacks rated higher than Eli Manning on Madden 2020?
41.
Pops, what do you think?
Well, I'd say it surely he's got to be in the top 32 of starting quarterbacks, I would think. Let me think. I'm going to say he was ranked 28. I'll say 28.
He was the 35th ranked quarterback.
Wow.
There are 34 quarterbacks rated higher than Eli Manning. So yeah, you would think maybe top 32, at least a starting level, but no, there are 34 quarterbacks rated higher, including Case Keenum, Teddy Bridgewater, Ryan Tannehill, Joe Flacco.
Teddy Bridgewater.
Oh, Lord.
There's probably more on the list that are interesting, but it cracked me up to see a whole Eli down there at 72.
And, I feel bad for Eli because here's,
do you? He's made a lot of money.
Yeah. He's made a lot of money. So I guess maybe I shouldn't feel bad for him. Yeah, he's going to be okay. Yeah. Except he looks like a Manning. So, but other than that, he, at least he doesn't look like a Davis. But the thing is, he came out this summer after their off-season camp and everybody's like, the new quarterback, Jones, Dan Jones, he looks real good. He may be able to challenge for the starting position this year. And Eli comes out and says, I'm not sure how long I'll play in the league. I might play for 4 or 5 more years. I don't know. I feel really good like right now. I love the game. Dude, you're about to not play for like 6 months.
Yeah, right.
And for him to have that like unrealistic, it's like, Eli, dude, just go on. Just take your money, sit on a sideline, hold the clipboard. You still can walk with both knees. You're good. And go on. There's a booth waiting for you at ESPN.
Well,
just move on. But it was hilarious.
I hadn't heard you say that.
I think I could play for 4 or 5 more years.
Well, I mean, yeah, he might like be able to play for 4 or 5 years, but I don't know at what level.
It ain't gonna be for the Giants.
Somehow it was funny. You say you feel bad for Eli Manning. Somehow he still got chose over Odell Beckham as who the Giants would rather keep. So I don't know what's going on there. I think maybe it's still Archie Manning's pull, and just in the world of football, he just has that kind of pull. But man, Eli, he just sticks around. He's the quarterback that never goes away.
Yeah.
I
want to ask the guy I feel bad for is Saquon Barkley. He that's the guy I feel bad for.
I think you're fair in that one. Yeah.
I sure hope he stays healthy.
Yeah,
because he ain't playing for much this year.
That poor guy, he's going to be on a rookie contract for the next 4 years, and I think they're going to run him into the ground. And let's just hope he's still able, those big old quads are still able to walk by the time he gets a chance to sign a new deal. Pops, what were you going to say?
Well, a couple of things about running back since you brought him up. One, the top rated running back in Madden is Todd Gurley. And,
Do you remember him in the Super Bowl?
I think he had one third down carry or something, or maybe he had.
C.J. Anderson was the best running back on that team.
Pork Chop Anderson was by far the best running back on that team at the end of the year. I mean, right? Something's wrong with Gurley, right? Didn't they come out that he had some kind of knee injury or something?
Supposedly, I think he might have some arthritis in those knees.
Yeah, they think it's arthritis, but that doesn't mean he can't play through it.
Well,
so it's just that he's not going to be able to give 360 touches every year. He's probably between 250 and 300 touches this year. But the thing is, when he touches it, if they do that, when he touches it, he's probably going to be pretty good. I'm not sure how Madden addresses that. But,
well,
and I would assume in Madden, nobody gives a shit if you got a degenerative knee. It's like, okay, unless they take that into account the degenerative knee comes in at the 35th play on your game. Other than that, he's still, from his measurables, when he has the ball, probably the number one running back.
To Tony's point, as someone who's played not as much of late, but in my lifetime, there's been a lot of Madden played. And so there is an injury rating that goes into Todd Gurley. So if you were to have him in your dynasty, he may get hurt more often than, say, a Saquon Barkley will to this point. But that rating goes, he's a 97 overall when healthy. So, like, he's a 97 overall. He might get, like, because at one point, Mike Vick, back in 2004 or 5, he was like a 99 overall, really high. And he's really good, but he gets hurt about once a game.
Yeah.
If you run around with him, he's going to get hurt. So Todd Gurley is probably going to leave at some point in the game if you have him. But when he's in, like Tony said, and he gets a touch, he's going to be hard to bring down. So I get that point. But it was funny. We mentioned a little bit about Melvin Gordon and how he's saying he's going to hold out and wants a new contract before he gets there. Todd Gurley may be the exact reason why the Chargers are going, whoa, now we're not ready. Because we just saw Todd Gurley get a huge payday, and a year later, we're now hearing the rumbles, is his knees ever going to be the same? I mean, he's still a young guy. He's only, what, 20?
He's pretty young.
6 probably? 20?
I mean, he's – and think about – here's the other one. Zeke's wanting this new contract now. And, I mean, I'm telling you, I think it would probably – I do think he he was the number 2 rated quarterback, by the way, or running back behind Gurley.
Running back, yeah.
And I think he probably – is fairly in that position. I think he is a great running back in the NFL. But, I mean, I heard Colin Cowherd saying today, said, trade him to Houston for Lamar Miller and a couple of draft picks. And, I mean, Lamar Miller behind that Dallas line would do a pretty good job. And I just don't think you can pay a running back that kind of crazy money anymore. And I think Gurley's one of the reasons why. Some
smart guys have thought that same way. I mean, there's Bill Belichick, who decided he wasn't going to pay running back and he'd rather draft one, even if it's in the first round with Sony Michel, he'd rather draft one and pay him that rookie contract for 4 years. And if they want to go get a big contract, Saints did the same thing. They'll draft Kamara in the 4th round, which that guy, it was interesting to me that Kamara was the 8th best running back. I mean, there's not many more explosive players, but that's just kind of, it's sad to me because I think it's one of my favorite positions. A lot of people's probably favorite position to watch. The running back's so fun to watch, and they're some of the best athletes on the field, but it's just hard to say I'm going to guarantee this guy blank $1 million when it's just after 3 or 4 years running the ball a lot. There's a lot of proof to show. It's just that's a lot of wear and tear on your knees and body because those are big old line. Like we just talked about the 99 overalls. There's some good defensive players over there. There's some Khalil Macks and Bobby Wagners who are just waiting to take you out. I wonder to see. I'm interested to see how the Zeke contract goes. Melvin Gordon, Barkley in a few years, McCaffrey. I think we're going to see running backs not get that guaranteed money, and I feel bad for them.
It's interesting. The Cowboys are in kind of a situation because they've got 3 premier players they're wanting to pay. So, congratulations, Jerry. Way to put yourself in that position. But the thing about a running back right now, 6 years is your average running back. You know, when you're 28 years old as a running back, you're old. And that's amazing to say that, but that's
you're not old for the earth. You're not old for the earth. You're just old for the field when you're at a running back.
Yeah. So anyway, I think that's interesting. You know, you've got 2 or 3 guys that are just the exception. Adrian Peterson has made it this far. Darren Sproles, but he wasn't really a.
Adrian Peterson's an alien, though. Are we sure that that's
Adrian
a human
Peterson's
being?
an alien? Yeah, yeah. So anyway, but 28 is old for a running back, and so now you get to, how do you pay these guys? And so when you get to year 3 or 4, and they're still on their rookie contract, these guys are thinking, look, I only know I'm playing for 3 or 4 more years. I want money now. And so it's kind of a give and take. It's almost like teams know that I'm going to overpay and pay you for the service you've done me in the past, hoping I can get 1 or 2 more years out of it. And then
that's a good point, Tony.
Yeah, that's the thing. So, it's these guys go, like Le'Veon Bell says, look what I've done for you the past 3 years. And the Steelers, I mean, that at some point that's a businessman up there and they go, well, that's already been paid for. Yeah. I'm paying for the next 3 years. And what are you going to do in the future?
And I think, and this is just interesting, Josh Jacobs, the rookie running back,
the rookie
Raiders,
out of Alabama.
Yeah, the Alabama is now balking at his rookie contract. This may be, if he does hold out, this may be that one that says, look, my position has a shorter time frame than any other position on the field. I need to be paid more now.
It's a fair point.
This rookie, the scale and all that stuff, this needs to change. Now, we'll see if he continues to hold out or not, because that would be a really big statement for this kid to do that. We'll see. But it is interesting to have that conversation of, okay, maybe the running back should have a different scale, because you can look at Larry Fitzgerald. There are multiple wide receivers that are playing into their early 30s, quarterbacks mid 30s.
Or late 30s, 40s. Yeah, we've got Breeze and Brady probably in their 40s, aren't they? Or close.
And they're getting paid huge contracts. Why isn't that money? I could see where running backs could say, look, this needs to be a bigger scale early for running back.
Yeah.
That's a lot, though. I do think it's going to take a rookie like that to make that stand, but that's a lot to ask, especially a guy like Josh Jacobs, who, I mean, not that long ago in high school, he was his family was homeless. Yeah. Like, there's not a lot of money in that family. I remember Joey Bosa a couple years ago. I know Tony's rolling his eyes because I'm bringing up Bosa, but
no, I knew it was coming,
their family.
Yeah.
Their family actually was really well on money, and he was able to hold out to get more, the guaranteed money more that he wanted. You're asking a guy who's never quite had, like, it's hard to ask someone, hey, don't take this couple million now, even though it'll change your life and change your parents' life. Don't take it now because you're trying to hold out for the rest of the position. It's like, hold on. Why am I the face of this argument?
Yeah.
So,
it's interesting.
But that's where it's going to take. That's where it's going to take, because it's those first 4 years that they're going to run you into the ground, and then by 27, 26.
So that's when you get your first contract. When you get your first contract as a running back, you're on the backside of your career at best. So
whereas a quarterback, you get Kirk Cousins, his first contract comes at 26,
He's still got his best ahead of him.
Theoretically, that's right when he's getting into his best football, right?
Yeah. Wide receivers the same way, linemen the same way, offensive linemen at least. They can play. But those running backs, it's, again, there's only 1 or 2 Emmitt Smiths, Adrian Petersons. There's the guys that have that longevity just aren't out there. And it's a shame that they get compared to that from a contract standpoint.
All right. Speaking of longevity in careers and someone who may or may not be hitting their prime.
Wow, good one.
Yeah, here we go. So Taylor Swift has been in the news here lately. She doesn't get brought up a lot on this podcast. We're not usually the big Swifties here, but she's been brought up on June 30th, a couple weeks ago. She published this long Tumblr post where she was accusing 2 major music executives of bullying her. I don't know. Have you seen any of this, Uncle Tone?
I have not. I'm not a big Tumblr user.
Neither am I. I just happened to see it on other. It just kind of made it surfaced on other Twitter. I don't know if you know this. There's a lot of Swift fans out there.
There's a few.
And when
I have heard that.
And when she makes,
what do they call this? The crew, the crowd, I
don't know. I've always called them Swifties, but there's a term for them. It's kind of like for Beyonce, there's the Bayhive. There's some kind of thing for Swift fans too. And so she made this big thing where she basically accused a lot of these 2 big music label groups of bullying her, and it gained a lot of ground really fast. And basically her whole argument is, I'll try to kind of lay it out for you, is she used to be a part of the Big Machine label, which that's where she recorded her first 6 albums with. And that means they had the rights to her master recordings, which means the first time she recorded is the master recording. So that means anytime a movie, a show, a commercial, anybody wants to use Tim McGraw or Teardrops on My Guitar, any of those songs she recorded like when she was 16 or 17 that became huge, they pay Big Machine, not Taylor Swift. And Big Machine just recently sold to a guy named Scooter Braun for $300 million. Scooter Braun is I believe Scooter Braun is a huge music label guy, and he's worked with guys like Kanye West, Justin Bieber, Demi Lovato, Ariana Grande.
Does anybody besides me have a little trouble taking somebody serious named Scooter? I don't know. I just obviously he's a powerful guy.
The man's done pretty well for himself.
As long as it's not Cooter Brown, I'm okay.
So she says that this is her worst case scenario, that Braun's been bullying her for years, and that she's been trying to buy back her old albums for a long time now, and Big Machine would not do it. And that the founder of Big Machine, Scott Borchetta, had refused to sell it to her and instead purposely sold it to someone that Taylor Swift would hate to have the rights to her song. It's been pretty decisive ever since, because a bunch of artists are weighing in. Halsey and Iggy Azalea, I don't know if you guys have heard of them. They, among others,
I've heard of them.
They've taken Swift's sides using the hashtag #WeStandWithTaylor. Others, like Justin Bieber and Demi Lovato, who, as I mentioned earlier, have worked with Braun, said that he's just misunderstood and that he's not bullied anyone. The reason, I'll give you some background on why she doesn't like Scooter Braun. If you remember, Taylor Swift had that whole thing when Kanye West came up on the stage when Taylor Swift was accepting an award and basically ran her off the stage and said that Beyonce should win the award. And then a couple years later, Kanye released a song called Famous, which contained the line, "I feel like me and Taylor might still have sex. Why I made that blank famous." She came in and denounced that line, saying it's misogynistic. Kanye West then later said that he called Taylor Swift and asked her if it was all right to use it because he didn't want to use a line like that without at least talking to her. And then Kim Kardashian actually posted the video of the call, like they had it on speakerphone. So it basically made Swift look really bad because she was like, I can't believe he would say that. And then there was a recording of her going, yeah, it's fine if you say that. They may or may not have asked if they could throw the B word in there. You know, that's kind of the big one, I think, is what really rubbed her the wrong way. So, she claims that Scooter Braun, who was kind of the publicist and person behind Kanye West, was the person pulling the strings on this. So that's why she says it's bullying. But I wanted to ask you guys, the big thing that she went on a tangent about was artists not owning their own songs and not being able to own their own songs. And she's saying she signed this deal when she was 16 years old and she was trying to buy it back and couldn't. This isn't something new, though, right? I mean, this is Paul. No. This happened with Michael Jackson, I believe, and didn't it happen with Paul McCartney? Was involved in something? Maybe he was involved in the Michael Jackson. I don't know, but this isn't new, right, Tone?
No, absolutely not. And Michael Jackson bought the McCartney-Lennon rights.
Okay,
but yeah, as Prince, the song goes.
What happened with your?
Yeah, it's a tale as old as time. So anyway, a good friend of mine, Prince Rogers Nelson, he had to change his name to
a symbol,
to a symbol. And he had the same argument that Warner Brothers had taken his masters and he wasn't going to record as Prince anymore. And he was going to all that stuff. It happens all the time. And here's my thought on it. And I'm glad you brought it up, Kevin, because I feel like ranting a little bit here. But
come on.
So Taylor Swift, multi, probably billionaire, has profited from that Big Machine. They took a chance. She may have been a one-hit wonder. She may have been a two-hit wonder, but she's turned out to be a phenomenal pop star, right? That's the chance you take. The way you pay the piper in that deal is you make that deal. Now when she says I'm being bullied, well, that's BS. You know how many people she's got under contract, to her lawyers, her managers, her studio guys? They should be the ones that, if she's going to be mad at anybody, she ought to be mad at her management for saying, hey, why did we make this deal? Why didn't we get out of this sooner? If you watched, I just got through watching Bohemian Rhapsody just a couple of days ago for the first time. Phenomenal film, by the way.
Good movie.
Queen did the same thing. They went to their label and said, we're going to make this just like this. And Queen's going to do this. And so they bucked the system. It happens all the time. And so for her to do this, for me, it's just another way for her to keep the T Swift name out there. And, I'd like to see more pictures of her and Katy Perry kissing and making up. That'd be great. I got no desire to see her kiss Scooter Brown or Scooter Brown or Cooter Brown or whoever this guy might be. Unless he's, got a wife, then fine. They want to kiss and make up, I'll watch. But otherwise, you're a big girl.
He's on a roll.
You're a big girl. you're multimillionaire. You've got multiple homes and multiple places. Like your music, good musician. I'm sure you're going to turn into the Madonna of the 2020s, and I can't wait to see your sex book come out. But,
Whoa.
it's just, come on, man. Come on. So it's just grow up and put your big girl panties on and move on from it and make another great album so you don't have to worry about it.
As far as Taylor Swift being bullied, I would love to, if I could get bullied and end up with an estimated net worth of $360 million is what Business Insider has her net worth at, I'd be okay with that. But Dad, I feel like you might have at least some thoughts. You look like you have something. Well,
no, I think I tend to agree with Tony on this, in that if obviously if the masters were for sale, if the rights to this music was for sale, then she has the money. Why didn't she go buy it? Why didn't she bid? That's why I'm always confused.
Can I interject? Can I interject real quick?
Yeah, but how did Michael Jackson buy the Beatles music? Because the Beatles had a lot of money. Paul McCartney and John Lennon,
they were for sale.
I think Tony kind of hit the nail on the head in that's your legal team and your business manager's issue. Maybe you had to sign that deal just to get your music distributed in the first place. And if that's the case, that's the case. But if you had the opportunity to buy it and didn't take advantage of that, that's either your fault or your legal team's fault or somebody like that. So I think I would tend to agree that it's a little bit much ado about nothing.
Well, so apparently this is what there's different sides to the story. If you ask Scott Borchetta, the guy who was a big machine label who sold it to Scooter Braun, or if you ask Taylor Swift, there's two different, as always, there's two different sides of the story. And then there's probably the middle, which is the correct story. But she claims that she had been trying to buy him back and that the only offer Borchetta gave her was that she could buy the rights to her master recordings, but that meant the next 3 to 5 albums, there was a certain number that she came out with would be under the Big Machine label. So she would still be under them and they would make some profit off the next couple albums. She didn't want to do that because Big Machine was getting ready to sell. It's been known that they were going to sell soon. So that meant if she signs that deal, then that means her next 3 albums is going to be under, she doesn't know. She doesn't know who she's going to be working for. And she didn't want to sign up for that. Understand that a little bit, but it's kind of, we talked about the running back position and how it's just kind of the way it works. She's 16 years old. She wanted to make get her name in the music business, and Big Machine label, as Uncle Tone said, they gave her an opportunity. They took a chance and said, we'll go with this young girl in Nashville and see what happens. Good. It was a great bet by them. It worked out really well for her and them. And that's just kind of the name of the game. This isn't going to be the first. It's not going to be the last time that someone's a little upset that they signed a deal that may not have been at 16. Yeah, you could say, well, they took advantage of her, but they also took a chance on this nobody who's playing in bars in Nashville. So it's kind of the way it goes. I don't know. I get her being a little upset that she doesn't have the master recordings because it does feel odd that it's your voice and your song and you don't own any of it. But that's just the business. That's the way it works. Yeah. And it's just like guys getting cut and not making the money in the NFL once their knees go down. That's just the business. That's just part of the way life works. And
yeah. And I in the grand scheme of things, okay, I'm sorry, Taylor, go back to your mansion. But from a business standpoint, you made that was a good segue there or comparison, Kevin, with to the running back. You take that chance, you pay a little, and you get a lot in return. But then at that time of the next contract, you better be prepared to pay a lot because you didn't pay much in the beginning. And that's probably true. However, and just in entertainment, like football is entertainment, basketball is entertainment, NBA is strictly a circus. So I just thought
I'm sure y'all appreciate
that. But you never know. The next album might be your last because it sucks. And all of a sudden things change. And so I get that part, but you know what? She had the shot to get the Masters. She should have done it. And so I'm not going to feel bad.
I do wonder, I think you may have been on to something there, Tony. You said something earlier, and I'm sure she is upset about this. And this gripe's not just all BS, and she does feel a type of way, but there probably is a little bit of, I think Jerry Jones once said, any publicity is good publicity. And this is just Swift keeping her name in the news cycle. I mean, we're sitting here talking about it 2 weeks since she posted that. So she's keeping her name in there. And by the way, Taylor Swift has an album coming out, I think, in a month or two.
Oh, really?
So
really?
Kanye West has done this same thing where it seems like
for years.
He gets in the news for something crazy, whether it's good or bad. He's in the news, and by the way,
I'm dropping an
there's
album,
an album
too.
coming.
By the way, I'm dropping
There's
an
street.
album.
There's always somebody with the playing the game who's controlling the strings, and that might be her business partner saying, "Let's get your name in there. Let's get in there."
That's right.
I do. Yeah, she is. And
I do.
She has a ton of fans. I'm not gonna lie. If the right Taylor Swift song comes on the radio, Kevin may or may not be singing along in the truck, blaring that radio. So,
well, I will say when we get to the segment of, hey, what are you listening to? Taylor Swift's not going to come up for
she's
me.
not going to be on my list.
And
I like her, but I do.
Kelly Clarkson had a remedy for old Taylor Swift. She told her she should go back and re-record all her, because it's the first recording, so she could re-record Teardrops on My Guitar and like rename it like the deluxe or something. I don't know, but she could re-record it and then have the master recording that.
The remastered,
but there's a little difference, there's a difference between when that album came out at 16 and when she's a different woman now. She's she's 29 now and a megastar. She recorded that at 16 and this no long shot. Yeah. So I don't know if that's worth doing, but it is interesting.
Yeah. To quote a very, very good friend of mine, she's a grown ass woman. She can do whatever she wants.
I think I may have heard that once or twice in my day. Okay, I did want to throw this out there. I don't know if this may or may not get cut. We'll see how it goes in the editing process. But this week, The Lion King is being put out, the new version of it. That's going to be a live action Lion King. And
can you feel the love tonight?
I haven't heard it, but I promise it's going to sound better than what you just heard in your ears when the song plays on Friday in theaters. But this thing is expected to make a ton of money. I wanted to bring it up mainly because I remember growing up on Lion King, and that might have been my favorite movie.
That's great.
It definitely was my favorite movie. It's still one of my favorite animated movies of all time. We talked a little Toy Story before. So I just kind of wanted to throw it out to you guys. It seems like it's going to be a complete remake, just a live action with a ton of big name stars voicing over the different characters. So, Pops, any interest at all in this new Lion King?
Yes, I am interested in it. And like I saw on one of the late night shows, Jon Favreau, which
the producer.
I knew him when I saw him. I knew the name, but I wouldn't have put the name with the face. When I saw him, I knew him exactly. And he is a big deal with the new Lion King. Has a lot to do with him. I actually kind of like Jon Favreau, but
directed Iron Man.
He did Iron Man, yes. So, and they did I guess there was a premiere where Elton John and all these A-list people went to see it. So it's getting a lot of
you
play.
Are right. I do recognize him now that I see him.
Yeah, you definitely recognize him.
Beyonce and Meghan Markle shared the red carpet.
I guess that's what maybe it was Entertainment Tonight. Tammy probably had control of the TV. That's what it was. Entertainment Tonight. But I'm actually, I don't know that I'd go to theaters to see it, but I am anxious to see it sometime soon. Absolutely.
Tone, any interest on your part?
Okay, so I'm conflicted.
Oh, okay.
So here's the thing. I guess it's a generational deal, but that Disney is doing this, and for part of me is like, they're just making money on these stories. They now have the technology to do this live action, and so they've done Aladdin.
They've done Tarzan.
Jungle Book. Mowgli. All this stuff, they've gone to live action. And, to me, the cartoons were awesome, but my kids were, speed bump stage. It's just that now it's a generational deal that all of a sudden you're bringing these guys back up and you're doing in this new format. So part of me is like, a new generation of 5 to 10-year-olds are going to get hooked on this. It's going to be their crack. They'll be watching it for 10 or 15 years. People will be punching CDs in the back of their Expeditions and Blazers. And,
probably just hooking up the Bluetooth on their phone.
Probably just streaming it. Yeah, but
yeah, there you go. So probably just streaming it. Damn. Anyway, so part of me is like, they just need to do it for that generation. Other part of me is like, why mess with a classic? And it's just it's just being put back out there to make more money for Disney. If it's not 100% phenomenal, to me, it's going to be a bust. So it's just like if you're going to remake a classic, it damn well better be better than the first one. Just like A Star Is Born. They've been making A Star Is Born every 15 years since 1930 something. And so The Star Is Born made last year hell of a good movie. So, here's The Lion King coming out 25 years after it was first put out there. You better. Okay.
Yeah, I do think you run into an interesting.
It better be damn good. That's all I'm saying.
The bar is already set so high. If you come in, if it's a mediocre film, then it's going to end up being or if it's just a good film, then it's going to be looked at as mediocre to bad. Like it needs to be really good because you're touching a classic. You're trying to repolish off a classic.
Yeah.
But guys,
because I can tell you,
Disney, they're geniuses, right?
Yeah,
so they own the rights to this.
Yeah.
And
I will say,
I guarantee you,
fucking everything.
Putting this out will bring interest back to the original. The animated show will get bought and streamed again. I mean, I think Disney is absolutely. I want to go buy stock. I need to go buy stock in freaking Disney.
Yeah, there you go. Because
you should have done that a while back ago.
I should have done it. Yes, no doubt.
So now we can start doing this thing. Okay, Nathan Lane or Seth Rogen, who did it better? Okay, for me, I can't wait to see what Seth Rogen does with this, just to hear.
Yeah, all I can think about is his laugh. All I can think about is Seth Rogen's laugh.
Okay, yeah, a stoned Pumbaa. How cool is that?
Pumbaa already seemed kind of stoned, like going back now.
Yeah,
like
he kind of did, Thinking back now, maybe
Seth Rogen does have that stoned laugh. There is a stoned laugh, and everybody knows what we're talking about, and it's.
They're hearing it.
Yes.
Yeah, they're hearing it, but not that I would know anything about that. So, but I think that part of it is fun. But it just better be just really damn good. And so that's the part of me that's like, why mess with a classic and leave it like that?
I'll say this. I'll probably will be in theaters to go watch it because I loved Lion King at a younger. I haven't watched a lot of these live action, the new remakes really. And from all I've heard, a lot of people really like them. Like I've heard LJ and Hannah talk about some of the Tarzan and Jungle Books, I believe, and they really liked them. So I'm going to watch it and I'll report back to you guys after I see it.
All right. Report back. Let us know. Let us know how it is.
All right. Let's wrap up the pod as we normally do. And let's do a little what we're listening to. We talked some T Swift. I don't know if that's what we're listening to. Hopefully we're not listening to Tony's rendition of the Lion King soundtrack. Hopefully we can actually put the real version in there. But I'll start with you, Pops. What have you been listening to here as of late?
This was a little out of left field, and I can't remember exactly where I heard it, but I heard Travis Tritt singing the other day. And man, it got me back on a little Travis Tritt. Here's a quarter, call someone that cares. God, I can't even remember all the other songs.
Was he the one that sang that rice cooking in the microwave? It's a great day to be alive. Or no, that's not Travis.
It's a great. Is it? Yeah, okay. I think it's a great day to be alive. The kid sitting in the front row. I'm going to be a somebody someday. I mean, Travis Tritt had some good stuff. He really did. So I have to put a few Travis Tritt classics on the website. Yeah, that's what I've been listening to.
Travis Tritt is when redneck became cool.
A little bit. He was a member of a country club, remember? Yeah.
Yeah. Redneck before then was like, man, don't be a redneck. But then also Travis Tritt was one that started coming in like, oh, it could be cool to be a redneck.
Could be cool. Yeah.
That's Travis Tritt's, his contribution to society.
I liked a little Travis Tritt. I did back in the day and still today.
That big old round face, that ugly ass haircut. If that guy can sing and get women, anybody can sing and get women.
Well, I think a lot of it's the singing. I think you got to master it, and we know already clearly by listening to this podcast that you have that in spades, that singing voice. So
in spades.
So look, did you see the full circle I did there? We were talking about cars to start the podcast, and then I throw little spades out there. Wow.
Fantastic.
I'm gonna go for what we're listening to. Shout out to I was riding. Thanks a lot to Pops and our main man. Everyone on here knows our main man Keith Mac Daddy was helping. He was helping us move. I moved into a new place this weekend, and both of them were helping. And when they were riding around, they threw some Avett Brothers on the playlist when we were in the car. The Avett Brothers can kind of jam. I've neglected them. I know Dad and LJ have brought them up before, I think. And I've kind of neglected them, and that was my mistake. I'm just going to throw it out there. The Avett Brothers, I'm digging them. They can jam. So
they're good.
That's what I've been listening to ever since this weekend.
I'm going to have to figure out these Avett Brothers. I've never listened to them. I'll have to go find it.
The Magpie and the Dandelion. Listen to it, Tony. It's a great album. Fantastic. I'll hook you up, brother.
Tone, what about you? You been listening to anything good lately?
Oh, yeah. I'm a little eclectic. I like to like to expand my boundaries. So here's two. The two things I've been listening to is Vampire Weekend.
Oh, I like it.
You mentioned that. I've not really listened. Good.
Speaking of Keith mentioned them too the other day. I think I heard him say Vampire Weekend the other day.
Keith mentioned Vampire Weekend?
Yeah, he said it popped up on some radio station and he really liked him.
He's been drinking rosé wine again. The thing about Vampire Weekend that I really like is that every song is complex. There's nothing, it's just up and down. There's different instruments, but the songs, when you listen to the words, there's so much going on in there. And I've been listening to this album's Father the Bride. It's their newest one. And he's talking about the explosion of a relationship and a wedding that goes on and all the things that go on with that. It's really, one of my favorite lines, he says, I don't want to live like this, but I don't want to die. And so so much stuff going on in the album and great harmonies. You hear great electric guitar solos.
They got a great sound. They got a great sound.
You hear orchestral movements, and it's just really awesome. It's a fun album to listen to if you can just sit down and listen to it. And I've been listening to it like 3 or 4 times as I've gone back and forth traveling. So, and then on the flip side of that, this is where it really gets weird, is AC/DC.
Oh,
yeah.
And
Throw
so
it back.
it goes
All
back.
right.
And so it's and I started listening to AC/DC, and it's just so minimalist that it's just you, a singer, a lead guitarist, and drums, and they just are hammering you with rock and roll. And it's just right there. It's fun lyrics. I encourage everyone to go listen to "Giving a Dog a Bone" if you feel like it's a bad day. Go listen to "Giving a Dog a Bone." But everything is, it's just so right there in your face. And it's such a comparison to Vampire Weekend, which has so much complexity going on. And all AC/DC is just guitars, a drum, and a guy in a gravelly voice. It's just real. It hits you so much lower. It's just right there in your gut. That's what I've been listening to.
Yeah.
All right.
Good stuff.
I'm digging it. I'm digging it. And by the way, to anyone out there, if you're, and I know as this is being edited by LJ, he's going to be just pulling his hair out, because that's not a cricket in your car, Uncle Tone, he records from the back porch. So that's why we're hearing that beautiful background serenade from a cricket. I think just
y'all come out here to the country and record with me. It's great. It's great.
So that's what we got today. We got the JPP pod featuring the cricket.
Kev,
and it's a beautiful.
I may have just saw wildebeest go by Tony back there.
No, that's Bigfoot. Bigfoot. I leave out a couple of turkey legs, which if I had to get into an eating contest, turkey legs and Cheez-Its. I'm telling you,
you can't touch Tony on Cheez-Its. You can't touch it.
It's over. It's over.
Kevin, you can't touch this. He can eat Cheez-Its
I could go get that. I could go get that big old box from like Sam's or Costco's, and he would just tear it up.
Oh God!
16 ounces in 5 minutes, man. I can take it. It's done. 1 pound, 5 minutes, over.
It's amazing.
Oh man,
over.
It's amazing what he can do to a box of Cheez-Its. It is incredible.
All right. Well, on that note, we'll let your minds wonder on where Pops is going with that. But on that note, I think we'll wrap it up. I do want to say, Uncle Tone, I really appreciate you hopping on with us. I thought if we're going to talk some football and maybe talk some fantasy, we had to get, who better than get Uncle Tony on? And I'm ready for some football season. I'm ready to get some more talking going on. And
anytime, I am humbled to be here in your presence. So thank you very much for allowing me to be here.
Well, I think before we started recording, or maybe it was right when we started, you called Dad a gentleman, and he said he doesn't get that often. Oftentimes, I don't hear people say they're humbled to be in our presence. So we're getting showered with the compliments here today.
Yeah.
So that'll do it for another episode of the JPP Pod. We will be back next week. By the way, you can find our show notes over on our website, justpressplaypod.com, or you can find us on the Facebook or Twitter, wherever you do your social media, and you can find us.
The Facebook?
Facebook. Yeah, I know. I don't know why I threw the in there. Like I'm an Ohio State fan, I got to throw the in there before I say it. But Yeah, find us on Facebook, find us on Twitter, find our website, comment if you have any argument. I'm sure there's a lot you have to disagree with on us. That's one thing about Tony when he gets on here. There's a lot to disagree between. We're always going to disagree with him, and there's a lot of different opinions. So if you think one of us is wrong, go ahead and leave us a comment. Let us know, rate, review, subscribe, and we will catch you again next week on the Just Press Play Pod. Peace.
Peace out.
Peace.